Well, howdy there, y'all. Yamahsaki here. Welcome back to the channel. And today, we're going to be talking about blacksmithing. Yeah, I know, I'm sure some of you are looking at the title and all this and are like, well, this guy has officially lost his mind. Just a little bit. But, hey now, come on. Raise your hand if you ever took a piece of metal while you were at the campfire, got it really freaking hot, and then decided to hammer it with whatever you could find. I'm sure a lot of us did that back when we were kids, and it turned into something way different. Blacksmithing. And you know, blacksmithing has always interested me to a certain point, you know. Being able to heat up a piece of metal to almost melting hot and then, you know, forming it, forging it, shaping it with your own bare hands and a hammer and a big solid chunk of metal. It's pretty handy. It can be. And you know, even some 80 to 100 years ago, it was still a pretty widespread trade, because the old cars of the day used a lot of rivets, you know. Blacksmiths had to make a whole bunch of rivets, and it's not as easy as it looks. Nonetheless, aside from me babbling, my first real attempt at blacksmithing was on that little baby wood stove over there. And I didn't have an anvil, so I just found about a ½ inch thick of plate steel, about yay big, and put it on a stump and started hammering a piece of metal that I found. The only real problem is these campfires, unless they're quite big, just cannot get up to temperature to forge metal that well. And I know what you're saying. We didn't have coal thousands of years ago. We had to use wood and campfires just like this. While that is true, it still makes it very difficult. You have to constantly be feeding the fire and keeping it up to temp. I don't even know what temp this is at. I don't know why I didn't bring my thermometer gun. That would have been really handy to, you know, figure out. Nonetheless, after my first attempt, I started doing my research, watching videos, and looking on Amazon and eBay for some cheap yet fair quality tools and equipment for blacksmithing. And I ended up coming up with a few things. I ended up buying these two contraptions. Now, I know you avid and professional smiths out there are looking at these two pieces of equipment and are probably thinking to yourself, oh man, this guy just has no idea what he's doing. And you're right, I don't. But after that initial test in the wood stove, I looked up some reviews on that little baby forge, and that came from India. The guy that bought it and did a review on it said that it works pretty good. He used charcoal, and it's got that little hand crank blower, which is what I was looking for. And that draws air up, going up that way to heat the coals and the charcoal a lot better. So, and I just mounted it to this piece of wood here with some chain. I thought it looked pretty good. Now, there's a reason why I ended up going with this one specifically. The thing is, I could have gotten a 44-pound anvil or a 66-pound anvil, but I was really mainly looking on Amazon. I looked on Facebook, and I couldn't find anything local that I could afford or anything like that, but I did find this little guy on Amazon. And the reasons why I bought it are because it has mounting holes on all 4 feet here, but it's also got the hardy hole and the Pritchell hole, which most of the other ones that I found did not have. I ended up going to Harbor Freight and seeing if they had that I think it was maybe a 55-pound anvil or something like that, but unfortunately they were out of stock. And I also ended up buying this little 2.5-pound hammer from Harbor Freight that day I went looking for that anvil. Figured I might as well get a dedicated hammer. This is a smaller hammer, but I'm a little bit of a smaller built guy, and this hammer feels right. And what I've been doing today, for most of the day, is making some homemade charcoal. I have never made charcoal in my life. This is my first time making charcoal. And since I don't know how readily available coal is going to be around here for me to get, and I'm sure I could go to Murdoch's. I looked at Murdoch's and they have lump charcoal, but I figured I've got a whole bunch of wood lying around. I might as well learn how to make charcoal and, you know, establish a fuel source for that thing. So this is about three loads worth of charcoal. I just took a small coffee can, and that's how I've been making this charcoal. It's not a lot, but it's a start. Now the thing is that tiny little forge is not going to be my sole purpose forge. This is going to get me started, and it's a nice little forge. You know, if you need a forge out in the mountains or something like that, that is a great option. A great option. It's small, it seems sturdy, it's crude, but you know what? All a forge has to do is hold a bowl of coal, get really hot, and have sufficient airflow. I ultimately have a plan to build a bigger, better forge out of this. An old Brinkmann turkey fryer burner. Now I started thinking after I bought this forge and this anvil, I'm like, hell, I could probably build a forge at this point. And I figured out a way with garbage. Garbage. Yeah. What my plan is I'm going to fix this burner up. I think, you know, the stand is stable. The burner probably needs to be cleaned out and probably can use some evaporust, but that's no biggie. What I plan to do is I've found, and I will show you this in a little bit, where is the hose that it hooks up to just goes to a regular old 20-pound propane tank. The thing is, I don't have a 20-pound propane tank. I do, but it's a small one, and I doubt it has any fuel in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a new hose and regulator for this thing. And then I bought a 1-pound to 20-pound propane tank adapter. Initially what I'm going to do is I found a big cast iron woke. And I'm going to clamp it on here, put a really big hole right here, put a grate, put some fire resistant heat rocks. Then I'm going to put my coal, and that'll be my fire pot for my forge. And I'm also going to have a pipe that comes out and connects to a blower. So not only do I have a small flame down here keeping heat coming up, but I'm also going to have that blower to the side blowing up more hot air. So this thing is going to be insanely freaking hot. I'm sure I'm not the only person to come up with this freaky deaky idea. I just want to use what I have lying around. And sure, I've got to buy some things, but that's the deal with projects, you know. And here's this tiny little adapter that I was telling you guys about. You just connect it to a little 1-pound propane tank, and then you run your regulator off of the other side. It's actually a pretty neat little thing, and I'm happy I bought this one on Amazon for, oh, I'd say probably about 17 bucks. Ace Hardware wanted about $32 for one, and it didn't even really look as good a quality as this little guy. So yeah, have I lost my mind? Yep. But that's pretty much all I have to show you guys in this little video. I really just want to get into blacksmithing. You know, if you don't have the mill or the lathe to, you know, make specialized pieces of metal and things, blacksmithing is there, you know. It takes a lot more time and it wears you out fairly fast, but you know, if you don't have anything else, at least you got something. And it's a really good craft to know. You can make a whole bunch of things. Door handles, fire pokers, hammers, blades, you name it. If you can make it out of metal, you can do it with blacksmithing. So Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more content. And Yamahsaki out. We'll see y'all later in the next video.